7-yard line. That's a great call. Two play fake. Plummer will put it up. Throws over the middle. Pull. Touchdown. Quick flag.
3rd down and 5. Levis swings it to Scadaboo. Scadaboo breaks defenders. Here he goes again. Another. Scadaboo is the running back, and he is immediately met in the backfield, runs through the contact, and then throws a shoulder for good measure. Of this defense here. That is true. High in the air. Right center field. Brandon comes in. Welcome to 2025.
Today. This one the other way. It's still going back. The drag walks up and down.
Edwards pulls off and buries it.
Richardson drives out for Robbie Ryan. Hurt 3 right on the money.
Takes his shot for Darby. Flag out. What is up, my Pitchfork Lunch peeps? Welcome on into Friday's edition of Pitchfork Lunch. As getting started a wee bit late, as was checking out ASU swim, keeping up with results, as you guys all know. They are hosting the Big 12 West tournament today and tomorrow. I'll be out there this evening and tomorrow morning, but this morning, keeping up with it. That's why we got started. It's a wee bit late. But the good news is um um the good news is, again, can give you updates. Um um yeah, the good news is, again, can give you updates as to what's happening. Yes. And um 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 there's the Sun Devil Athletics game day app, pardon me. Anyway, you can Um, we talked about obviously the preview yesterday. But yes, results as they come in. Sorry. Anyway, yes, but the Big 12 West championships this weekend, 10 a.m. this morning, they already went off, and then 5 p.m. On Saturday, or 5 p.m. tonight, and then 10 a.m. On Saturday. Yes, 10 a.m. and then 5 p.m. tonight as well. And then on Saturday as well. Also, women's hoops, as you know, plays tomorrow at 2 p.m. So you get swimming in the morning, women's hoops in the afternoon. Hockey's off this weekend, but home next weekend. Yes, they are off. So, pardon me for. Pardon me, sorry, sneeze cam. But just like in a broadcast, you have a cough button, cough sneeze button. But here again, go off camera. But yeah, so women's hoops 2 p.m. Tomorrow, and that is again against Kansas, looking to get back in the win column. Are the 16-2 Sun Devils, and 3-2 in conference play with losses to BYU and the last one both on the road. You see something there, but yeah, both on the road that they fell, but it is 2 p.m. tomorrow that the women will take on Kansas, and yeah, and we're gonna hear from Jason Glover. Yes, the associate head coach. As you guys may know, may not know, obviously Stephanie Norman back, associate head coach and director of basketball Saturday, but Jason Glover got to sit down yesterday and just kind of went over and chatted with him. We were chatting, and I was like, you know what? Let's sit and talk. And I mean, he is, and I know I mentioned it when Coach Miller came over, talked about it. Obviously, had her on filling out her staff, but you want to talk about a coach who's got mucho experience. He's been in D1 women's basketball, the WNBA, and the NBA. As he was with Coach Miller for the at GCU the prior 2 seasons, and you saw that they went obviously GCU won 84% of their games. They were 56-11 in those 2 years. In his 2 years with Coach Miller at GCU, including a school record 32 wins just last season. Yeah. So, I mean, absolutely phenomenal. And they earned their first NCAA tournament berth in addition to experiencing March Madness for the first time. They also captured both the WAC tournament regular season championships and set the conference record for consecutive wins at 30. Yes. And, they were, like I said, Coach, they were obviously Coach Miller, but with Coach Glover, they were 47-3 in their last 50. So that's absolutely huge. But we'll hear from him again, a little conversation obviously about Coach Miller, Big 12 preview, but yeah, I sat down and caught up with Coach Glover again, very gracious of him. So we will have that. Also, but I digress. Don't forget, I am Michael Caratanito at Diablo00 on X, the artist formerly known as the Twitter. Yes, you guys know it. You love it. You can check out the show there every Friday, every day, Monday through Friday, 12 to 1. So yes, you can do that. Check it out, like I said, on the good old X, ours formerly known as Twitter, at Diablo00. And then also, kids, this, you can go to the good old Instagram, the good old world of IG. And just it's at michael.caratenuto.5. Yes, I know I remind you of that daily, but I will remind you again today. Michael.caratenuto.5 at the good old IG. Check out live there. And last but definitely not least, you guys know the YouTube channel. Go to YouTube and subscribe. Watch live, but subscribe. You're watching season 3, which is, again, awesome. So, watch live and subscribe there as it's you've missed I say this all the time, but it is true. You've missed a plethora of phenomenal con reviews, which we call here on Pitchfork Lunch, because we're innovative, we're Sun Devils, and yes, not just straight up interview, but yeah, I mean, conversations. Yes, there are questions, but a lot of it's conversations. So nonetheless, there is that. So go to YouTube. Again, you guys know how to get there. See my name, Michael Caratanito, but the page is at M as in Michael, V as in Victory, C as in Champ, 005, at MVC005 on YouTube, and subscribe. Because again, whether it's coaches, players, voices, insiders, alum, it is all there. So yes, you can you can check it out, and again, subscribe and get it all caught up, because if you haven't been around for season 1 or season 2, you know what I say, shame on you, but I got you covered. That's why I'm here for you. Going in and around and through Sun Devil Nation, athletically, absolutely phenomenal. And again, learning about, academics as well too. So that being said, go to YouTube. Again, you see my name, Michael Caratanito, but the page is at M as in Michael, V as in Victory, C as in Champ, 005, at MVC005 on YouTube, and subscribe. Because, like I said, you got a lot to catch up on, my friends. A lot to catch up on. So, yes, but we will hear from Coach Glover. And obviously talk a little swimming as, again, the Big 12 West Championships is here. And as, again, ASU is hosting the school down south. Yes, that's right, them. BYU, so ASU, the school down south, BYU, Kansas, and Utah and Houston hosting the Big 12 East Showdowns this weekend, featuring Houston, West Virginia, Iowa State, TCU, and Cincinnati. Ahead of the Big 12 Swim and Dive Championships, which are slated for February 24th through 28th in Greensboro, North Carolina. And by the way, guys, this is, let's see. And then, then they're, that's the 16th, 17th, and they got a little bit of competition time off. But February 6th, they are down in Tucson. That is a Friday, February 6th. Down in Tucson for that, to take on the team down south. And that is Friday at 1 p.m. And then, like I said, February 24th through 28th in Greensboro Aquatic Center. The 24th through the 28th. And then March 9th through March 11th, the NCAA Diving Zones Championships, which it's not listed as to where those are at just yet. And then the Men's Swimming Championship, March 25th through 28th at the Georgia Tech Aquatic Center, which, yes, you guys are correct, since I know you don't go to school down south, on the campus of Georgia Tech. As for the women, swim and dive wise, yes, they are. Again, they're here for the Big 12 West Championships. And then again, down at Arizona, February 6th. And then the Big 12 Swim and Dive, 24th to 28th, March 9th through 11th, diving zones. But the championships for the women are ahead of the men's. It's March 18th through 21st, still at the Georgia Tech Aquatic Center. So, yes, on the campuses of the good old school of Georgia Tech. So that, in and of itself, my friends, very, very awesome. So the women, again, but you can check them out here. And I mean, again, hey, Friday, February 6th, come on, you can take a schedule a day off and go down to I know other places you'd probably rather go, but yeah, head down to Tucson and as they take on Arizona, and that's again men's and women's 1 p.m. So that will be that. And then again, like I said, the 24th to the 28th, the Big 12 Swim and Dive Championships. They will be there for that. Men's and women's all that time. That time, 24th to 28th, but the Swim and Dive Championships in Greensboro. So, and they are 2-5-1 overall, are the women, by the way. They're 2-1-1 at home, 0-3 away, 0-1 neutral. But they did just come off beating Grand Canyon 225-75 as well. So, yes, they are 2-5-1. On the men's side, I forgot to mention that to you. They are 7-0 and 3-0 at home, 4-0 away. So, yeah, it's and they beat GCU 208-91. So, yeah, in their last one. But the Big 12 Championships, again, going on here. So, yes, that is very awesome. But like I said, we're going to hear from Coach Glover from Women's Hoops. So we're going to step aside when we get back, preview, again, talk a little bit about Women's Hoops. But we'll hear from Jason Glover, yes, the associate head coach. We'll hear from him on the other side of the break. So, again, don't go too far. More Pitchfork Lunch coming up. guys have done a ton of winning. And welcome back to Pitchfork Lunch. Yes, I am Michael Caracino at Diablo00 on XR, formerly known as Twitter. My IG, Michael.Caracino.5, and the phenomenal YouTube channel, guys. Go to YouTube, watch live, but do subscribe. Again, forks up to the new subscribers. Again, you got a lot to catch up on. Season 1, you can binge watch in Season 2, keep watching Season 3. Get all caught up as we roll forward now as we usually say winter sports are in the thick of it. Spring sports are getting going. Baseball and softball getting set to go, track and field as well, men's and women's tennis as well. So yeah, absolutely awesome. But yeah, go subscribe, check it out. We're going to be bringing more and more to you. But like I said, Jason Glover, I mean, he has over I mean, what, 30 years, 35 years? I mean, again, he's coached from the WNBA, the NBA, the G League, college basketball. I mean, he was at GCU. Before GCU, he was at San Diego State. He coached Cal's team during summer training. He was USC associate head coach from 2017 to 2021 and New Mexico State head coach in 2016, 2017. I mean, that year in Las Cruces, guys, he was 24-7 with a 14-0 WAC record on their way to the NCAA tournament. He has stints in the professional level, serving in 2012, 2013 as the associate head coach of the NBA G League's Reno Bighorns in the winter, and the WNBA's Tulsa Shock that summer. He coached Liz Cambridge, Skylar Diggins-Smith, Glory Johnson, Courtney Paris. Yeah, you've heard a few. Candace Wiggins. You've heard some of these names, right? He was also with the Minnesota Timberwolves during their 2010-2011 season as a player development and assistant coach, working with Kurt Rambis and assistant coach Reggie Theus and Bill Lambier while helping to develop young stars such as Michael Beasley, Kevin Love, and Kevin Love. his career, I mean, started at Dixie State, which is now Utah Tech. Dixie State was JUCO in the Arizona Community College Athletic Conference, by the way. Football-wise, they're in the ACCAC. And, yeah, I mean, they just, again, he was at Dixie State coaching at that level, so having experienced these different levels is huge. And I asked him about that. So, anyway, I'm going to stop carrying on. Let's hear from Sun Devil women's basketball associate head coach Jason Glover. This is yesterday after practice, talking, about Kansas coming up, but just Big 12 experience working with Coach Miller. We even through some again, it's a conf review. It took us there organically. All right, Coach. Obviously, being working with Coach Miller, being part of the staff, you guys have done a ton of winning, but you come off a game like TCU. Obviously, people are trying. Sometimes games just don't go your way. What's the biggest challenge, and I guess the biggest challenge in watching a game like that and just getting on to the next game?
You can learn from. You rather learn from a win, but a loss like that sort of wakes you up. It sobers you up a little bit. But when you end up in a game getting blown out, you sort of just want to put it behind you and move forward. But anything we can learn from it, I think we all agree as a staff that we didn't go into that game with the right mindset. And again, you learn. I mean, the game's 31 games long. The season's 31 games long, and every game's a challenge. Everyone's an education, and you learn. You try to learn from each one of them.
So I guess what are some of the? Because Coach Miller obviously says that you always want your staff and each other to, challenge each other. But I mean, in the time you've worked with her, what's the most fun about that, and how have you seen her grow as a coach?
Well, she works so hard. I mean, I've worked with a lot of coaches in my 40 years, and nobody works harder. And so that's infectious. And so her whole staff works hard. And just, she's a gym rat. And those are the kind of like people I like to be around. People that really want to talk basketball, want to watch basketball, want to be on the court, work with the players. And so she's made, like I said, I've been with some great ones. I mean, from the NBA, WNBA, G League, and being with Molly has really raised my level of coaching.
And you mentioned that because that was a great segue. I was going to say that next. All the levels you've coached at, each level obviously presents different challenges. Now, outside of what's on the court, but different challenges. How much does that, like you said, the G League, the NBA, the WNBA, but help you, and yes, you've been in college, but help you at the college level when, obviously addressing the athletes and just going forward?
Communication at all levels. You learn to become a better teacher, and I think I'm a much better teacher today than I was 10 years ago, 20 years ago. And so, my role here with Molly is the basketball side of it. I do a lot of the player development. I do a lot of the offensive X and O execution stuff. And so for me, I study the game, and I'm a teacher. Both my parents were teachers, and so I like the teaching aspect of helping these players. At the pro level, there's not as much teaching as there is in college. You're getting these student athletes fresh out of high school or transfers, and they're sort of hungry for information, where when you get to the pro level, most of them already think they know it all.
Which is another challenge in and of itself.
Exactly.
But, when you talk about, obviously, like what Coach Miller has done and you working with her, to start a season off like that, obviously to rip off 15 wins at any level, I think, whatever, you're in Pee Wee, you're stoked. But, to rip off 15 wins, and you said you'd rather learn from wins, as the team was getting, again, to know each other on both ends of the court, but just how big was that? How infectious was, their energy, yes, and still wanting to learn, but just ripping off 15 wins?
I think that's the hugest part of a new staff and Molly taking over this program. You got to teach, especially where the program was when we got here. The last 2 or 3 years wasn't very successful, and you got to teach these, even though it's a new roster, new players, only got 3 returners, but you got to teach kids how to win, and how to go on the road and build a new culture. And Molly's all about culture. Culture is huge for her, but we not only we had 15 in a row. Me and Molly, I think we were 46 out of 47 in our last 47 games, and so that is infectious. And everybody needs to get on board and learn how to win. And so these 2 losses in the last couple of games have been hard. But again, BYU's a good team. TCU's obviously one of the top 5 or 10 teams in the country, and it just tells us where we need to get to.
Yeah, and it's funny you say the 46 out of 47, but I have a ticker on my show because when she was 40. You guys were 47-3 in the last 50. Because I know some people just said regular season, but
Right. Yeah.
40.
Yeah.
When you hear numbers like that, I mean, and again, as much as it pains me for my show too, but I mean, when Tommy Lloyd did the same thing. I mean, at Arizona, I think he was like 44-6 or 46-4 in his first 50. I mean, you talk about coming in, whether established or not, new team or not. What's the biggest challenge in that? Because people just turn around and say, oh, you can turn around like that and win, which, as you know, as a coach, I mean, that's not it, but it just happens.
The biggest challenge is getting the players to buy into the mentality, buy into the culture. You know, I mean, Molly's all about defense and buying in. You know, most kids come for offensive purposes, and they really, you know, a lot of kids fight the defensive side, and so she gets kids to buy into the defense. So that's a big part of it, but it's you know, we expect to win every game. Even, you know, you look at of those 3 losses, we lost to Baylor in the tournament, we lost to TCU the other day, and then BYU. And BYU is a game we could have maybe won. You know, whether we should have or not, who knows. But TCU was a better team, and Baylor was a better team at the time. And so, you know, all you can do is go back and say, okay, that's where we want to get to. But the fact that 47 out of 50 is pretty, unless you're Gino, you're not used to that. I mean, that's just another day for Gino. But the rest of us all have to earn that, you know. Not that he doesn't earn it.
Yeah, exactly. No, believe me, I'm with you on what you're saying. Because when I say numbers like that, and throughout the years on my shows, I've talked about that. Like, it's like, guys, you can say, oh, they're loaded, this and that. But as the talent, as you know, I mean, not even transfer portal, as the talent grows. And, you know, basketball, obviously a different sport than football, but there's less players on the bench. Yeah. So there's a lot more talent. I mean, I guess you say maybe a lot more upper tier talent throughout the years, I've always heard. But with you saying that, you're saying like building a culture, what's the biggest, I guess, challenge in, like you said, you want to build it with, you know, incoming high schoolers, but with the transfer portal as well? Because the players, I mean, obviously have that option. So what's, I guess, the biggest change for you guys in dealing with the transfer portal?
Well, building a cohesive unit, because nowadays you're going to see in the next couple of years, every year is going to be a rebuild for everybody. Everybody. I mean, there's going to be kids transfer from every program in the country. And it's to get a group of 12 to 15 individuals to play as a team. And every kid you recruit wants to be the player, wants to be the Skylar Diggins of the team or the Michael Jordan of their team. And building the culture is getting them to play with each other, play within a unit, learn the system. And I think, you know, we've done a pretty good job of that. And Molly prides herself on the culture of her kids. And it's, you know, the 30-point loss doesn't happen very often in her world. And like I say, it was a wake-up call.
And to piggyback off that, what you're saying, though, because you mentioned the 3 returns, I think it's somebody like, you know, a Jaya Levette off the top of my head, like, yeah, she was around for, and yeah, a new coach comes in and players a lot of times, you know, before the transfer portal, like, oh man, like, okay, maybe the headbutting at any level, whatever. But for somebody like Jaya Levette, who's like come in and, you know, I mean, as is kind of seeming like engulfed herself obviously in it, struggled. What's it been like? I mean, just working with her and even the other returners and just kind of seeing their, you know, excitement, because obviously they, like you said, went through some tough times.
Well, I think that the newbies coming in have an easier time. You know, between TG and Jaya and Michaela, you know, they were used to a different culture. And so now they're walking in, they're still wearing the same name on their jersey, they're still at ASU, but an entire new staff comes in. I think that was probably a big challenge for them to change their ways, change their workout ways, change their practice ways, where when you get a new team coming from other places, everybody expects change. But when you get the same players on a roster, I think that was the biggest challenge for them is Molly coming in and changing everything.
And then lastly, leaving this, the Big 12. Obviously, I know Coach said the other day, like after I think it was the UCF game, like you see some of the scores and you're like, I mean, and people always say, oh, it's coach speak, they're trying to fire up their team. But I mean, it's for anybody in this conference can literally beat anybody. I mean, and I even had some people say, like you're saying, the 30-point loss, they're like, TCU's good, but they're not 30 points better than, you know, what we've seen from this, you know, ASU team. But then you see, you know, like Iowa State get upset by Cincinnati or something like that. So I guess what's been the now that you're into conference play, but just kind of the energetic part of playing in the Big 12?
Big 12's been great. I was in the Pac-12, been in several other conferences. The Big 12 is from top to bottom. You know, like, I mean, obviously Houston, UCF, Cincinnati, those are the bottom 2 teams, but they can beat anybody at any time. And I think you're going to see a lot more parity because of the portal. You know, the teams with the more money are going to go buy the more players, and that's what it's really going to turn into. And so rosters are going to change yearly, and you know, hopefully your system, coaching staffs have to have a system that no matter who you bring in have to be part of that system and build, and you're going to see some upsets. I mean, I would be willing to bet the teams. I mean, TCU has a lot of NIL money to deal with, and they're at the top. And Baylor has a lot of NIL money; they're at the top. And I think it's going to be relative to how much they're spending on players, and but from a basketball standpoint, I think there's a lot of parity, and anybody can beat anybody.
Mic drop right there. I mean, Coach Glover saying it. And like I said, you got into the transfer portal. We were talking about that. And then but yeah, I mean it's here to stay, and the NIL part of it. And, at least the House ruling came down, and it's gonna be set up to be more even with approval, stuff like that. Again, not just, checks and balances, I guess I should say, because yes, approval they can do as long as it's a legit NIL. That's one of those things. But yeah, I mean, I love what Coach Glover said there. I mean, like I said, all the experience he's had, whether, all the way from JUCO all the way up to the NBA. Just think about that. But yeah, I mean, it's just like I said, at Dixie State, with the men's program from 1990 to 93. Before, and again, he went to Nevada as the men's top assistant from 93 to 2000. So, I mean, and he also served 13 years, 2000 to 2013, as the executive director of the Nevada Basketball Academy. It was a Reno nonprofit that helped 30 student athletes obtain college scholarships during his tenure. So, again, just the guy, like he says, he loves to teach, the teaching part of the game. And did you know this? Fun fact, I was going to tell you before, but I figured, save it till after. Fun fact, as I had in my notes here, he played baseball for GCU as a pitcher in 1985 and graduated with a bachelor's in physical education with a minor in biology. So, playing baseball, but again, a hoops guy. So yeah, I mean, it was and the pitcher. So, yeah, fun fact there. But yeah, forks up to Coach Glover, taking a few minutes after, again, they were done with practice to sit and chat with me. And yeah, and we're also going to hear from Marley Washington's, who again had a tough game at TCU. We talked about that. A very tough game. But again, you, like Coach said, I mean, you that's where you want to be. And like we said, like I said, they're talking to him yesterday, is that when you look at it, right? I mean, again, as people said to me, like, wow, I mean, we know TCU is about the 30 points better. And hey, some nights it's just it's a it's a tough night, to say the least, my friends. A very, very tough night, to say the least, when that happens. But yeah, it's it doesn't go your way, then you have Um, um, but yeah, I mean, that's one of those things where, again, like I said, when you have a tough game like that, you got to watch, but you got to learn from it. And like Coach Miller said, and obviously right there, like Coach Glover said, yes, you'd rather be learning through winnings. And when you rip off 15 in a row, I mean, playing defense, and you've heard Coach Miller talk about it, said it a zillion times. I mean, and you had her on when she got hired, her opening presser, but even on the show, like, you're gonna play defense. Like, your teammates are, rooting, on the bench, or even cheering for you louder if you draw a charge, you get a steal, forced turnover in that way. But yeah, if you're not going to be the one on the court working hard on defense, then as per Coach Miller, you're not going to be on the court. So that in and of itself is the tough part. But again, you can see why it's, again, and you know me, any sport, I have no problem talking defense, right, kids? Right? You know that. All right, quick little break again, and then when we get back, we'll hear from Marley Washington and wrap up the show as, again, this team gets ready for KU tomorrow, 2 p.m. at Desert Financial Arena. So that is that. Swimming at 10 a.m., don't forget. But it's a quick break, and we'll be back with Sun Devil guard Marley Washington on the 16-2 Lady Sun Devils hoops team.
Audio Jungle.
All right, we are back here on Pitchfork Lunch and get right to it. Sun Devil guard Molly Washington, who's again had a hell of a season. Tough one at TCU again in a tough loss, but pretty much the whole team had a tough one. So here she is post practice yesterday talking that, and like I said, we'll talk about KU as well too.
How has the preparation for Saturday's game against Kansas has been going throughout the last few days, especially after getting blown out by TCU on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely excited for a bounce-back game. Obviously, the TCU game wasn't our best by any means, and so we're just ready to come back out and play our style of basketball and get back to who we are as a team.
Do you think that you and the team have learned anything specifically from playing with a player like Olivia Miles?
I mean, yeah, you play great players in and out every night, especially in Big 12. So the past couple years, I played her when she was in Notre Dame, so I was very familiar with her myself, as well as Suarez. So, I mean, they have a great team. They have great players top to bottom, but at the end of the day, it's a team sport, and yes, you can have one all-star on the team, but it's the whole team that's going to win and beat you. And so that's kind of what happened to us with TCU, and we're just ready to get back to who we are because we felt defensively that we were letting them kind of get whatever they wanted, and that's not the style that we have here with our defensive end, especially with Coach Molly. So just ready to get back and show everybody the brand of Sun Devil basketball.
How would you say the coaching staff has helped you as a player so far this year?
I mean, yeah, top to bottom, the staff is so experienced. You have so many different levels of experience. You have, Coach Glove and Coach Norman who have been in the business for a while, and then you have people like Abby who are really young, but they've been at the highest level also, and so you have such different perspectives. But I mean, they've just helped me they've just helped me grow as a person and as a player, and I think that's the biggest thing is when I can leave here and knowing that I didn't only become a better player, but I became a better person and learned life lessons as I went.
Learning a game where a team got away from you as much as the TCU game. How do you kind of put that behind you and realize you guys can flip that around because these scores you look at the scores last night, it's very unpredictable what's happening.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's never the final score you want to see as a team and as a player, especially as a competitor. So just knowing that, you can't really go back and you can't redo that game and you can't fix it. So what you have to do is you have to flush it and look forward and see how you can learn and grow from that game, and that's definitely what we're going to do. We watched some film on it. We saw the areas we can improve on, and we're definitely going to harp on those. And these practices haven't necessarily been harder, but they've just been more of a test for us, and just really honing in on the details and things that we saw in that game and to make sure that we don't repeat it, because at the end of the day, if we repeat it, we're going to find ourselves in that same position, and that's never what we want to do. So just being able to learn and grow from positions and games like that is what we're really excited to do.
To grow, like you talk about, I mean, obviously it being the regular season, you got, like you said, on to the next game. But I mean, when you're watching film, obviously the last game, obviously stuff, but in watching it, like you said, when you get back into practice, what's kind of been the focus in practice?
Yeah, I mean, today we were huge on empty possessions. We can't go empty possessions, especially with have such high scoring offenses like TCU. I mean, they're one of the best in the nations at scoring, and so when you go empty possessions, and then they're not getting any empty possessions because, granted, like I said, our defense wasn't as good as it should have been. So, they're capitalizing on our lack of defense, and then we're giving empty possessions. So that was a huge focus for us today. And then throughout the past couple of days, just, making everything harder. Like I mentioned, defensively, we felt that we were lacking and we weren't denying as much. We weren't being as aggressive. And so we've had different days of different certain focuses, but today specifically was definitely empty possessions.
When you started the season, like you guys did in that big win streak, how have you liked the way that you and the team have kind of responded after the couple losses and learned from them?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, our first loss, we obviously didn't like it. We didn't want it. And we felt that, honestly, we shouldn't have lost it. And similar enough to TCU. We think that they're a great team, yes, but there's no way we shouldn't have been competing with them, and then had the margin that there was. So just to be able to come back and have those bounce-back games, for instance, after we lost to BYU, we knew that next game we wanted it, and we wanted it bad. And so I think we're back to that same position of we're desperate for a win, and obviously no one likes to lose here. That's not the goal by any means. So just to make sure that we don't stack losses and we don't let it continue to linger, and we just like I mentioned, go back, watch the film, see what our problems are and how we can grow, and then capitalize on that for the next game.
Your teammate at McKenna Brackens has been a big part of this team on the court, off the court as well. She's got a big personality. What are some of the things she brings to the team on the court, off the court that kind of impacts your teammate?
Yeah, I mean, just who she is as a person. She's contagious. Her energy is really infectious, and she's just a really fun person to be around. So when you lose sight of having fun with basketball, sometimes it tends to become a more anxious style, and you're on your heels and you're playing a little bit more intense. So when you have people like her who are just having fun with it, it kind of, like I mentioned, is infectious, and then everyone starts to have fun with it, and you kind of just get back to the main reason of why you started playing the sport, just because it's fun.
Coming off of the game that you had, what is one big positive takeaway that your team is taking, and how are you using that to motivate you in your upcoming game?
Yeah, I mean, hard to find some positives within that one just because, like I mentioned, the margin of error was a lot more than what it should have been. But at the same time, like, giving ourselves grace and understanding that, you know, that's a team full of a lot of All-Americans, and that's not saying that they have the right and the reason to win and beat us, but just being able to understand that we're competing with top 10 teams almost every other night, and so every night is a chance to prove ourselves, especially with, you know, what we want to do in postseason play. So just being able to understand that the positions we're in are opportunities, and to be excited and, you know, don't play on our heels and don't play scared and just attack them.
Now looking back from the first game to now, especially with this new group and new coaching staff, what do you reflect from this season so far?
Yeah, I just reflect a whole lot of growth. I mean, from top to bottom, if you look at our first game up until now, there's so many different opportunities that individually and as a team we have sustained and we have grown from. And to see, you know, you're going to have hiccups no matter what. It's a season. It's a really long season, basketball. So there's always going to be some flows and ups and downs. But to make sure that we don't let the lows get too low and the highs get too high and we just kind of stay pretty neutral, that's just really what I think this group has been able to do. You know, after a couple losses, we're not down on ourselves and throwing a pity party. You know, we're in the gym ready to get back and win the next one, and vice versa. When we get a win, we're not like, oh, you know, we've made it. You know, we understand that there's a next test the next couple of days, and we're never satisfied. So I love that about this group.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Thanks, Marley.
Yeah.
Bam, right there from Marley. Pretty damn good mic drop right there. So, yeah, like she said, I mean, and again, a season, you hear, it's not just coach or player speak, it's facts. You're going to have ebbs and flows, pardon me, to every game. So, or to every game, yes, but every season, you know, and, you know, saying it right there, not getting too high with the highs, not getting too low with the lows. So, that in and of itself. But they have Kansas at 2 p.m. tomorrow. Reminder, the men play at Houston, by the way. Yes, the women have Kansas at home. The 16-2 women have Kansas at home. 2 p.m. Desert Financial Arena. And the men have number 7 Houston on Sunday. And that is actually going to be on ESPN. So you guys can check it out Sunday, ESPN, 4:30 local time. So, yes, that will be – yeah, it's kind of crazy. They play well, it is Saturday, so 5:30 in Houston. But, yeah, at number 7 Houston. So that'll be huge. So, again, we talked about it a ton yesterday, rightfully so. 89-82, they fell to the number 1 team down south there. So, yes, that in and of itself. But the way they played that game, getting some guys back, but the energy, as you saw from the highlights we showed yesterday, I showed yesterday too, huge. And lastly, again, don't forget swimming back in action at 5 p.m. tonight, men's and women's swimming back in action tonight at 5 p.m. at the Mona Plummer Aquatic Center. So, again, don't be bashful. The Big 12 West Championships. The morning session ended, and I'll have, again, Monday, I'll have crazy review results. But, yeah, 5 p.m., they'll be back at it. Here. The Mona Plummer Aquatic Center. So, yes, but I'll have some highlights from that tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Again, bright and early. So, yeah, wrapping stuff up. And then you can go, hey, you could, again, spend your morning there, you know, and then a little bit of a break. And then the women's game at 2 p.m., guys. No better place to be. No better place to be than in Sun Devil country. So, with that going on. But anyway, have a phenomenal rest of your Friday. I will see you Monday, same bat time, same bat channel. As always, yes, thanks to reigning back-to-back Big 12 volleyball champs, women's volleyball, for always reminding me that it is hashtag our state. Yes, team down south, that is for you. school down south, I should say. That is for you. And you guys know it. Go Devils. But yes, at Diablo00 on X, RS21 is Twitter. My IG, Michael.Caratino.5, the YouTube channel. Guys, watch live. Do subscribe. Forks up to the new subscribers. Forks up to Coach, Associate Head Coach Jason Glover, again, sitting down with me yesterday for a few minutes and getting that. So that was absolutely awesome. Yeah, forks up to that. But yes, at Diablo00 on X, RS21 on Twitter. My IG, Michael.Caratino.5. The YouTube, it's at M as in Michael, V as in Victory, C as in Champ, 005. At MVC005 on YouTube. Watch live, subscribe, away. But have a phenomenal rest of your Friday, and I will have a safe weekend. Enjoy it. Let's go Devils. And as always, you guys know it. Forks up.
I went to Arizona State. Right. I'm a Sun Devil, man.
27-yard line. That's a great call. Two play fake. Farmer will put it up. Throws over the middle. Pull. Touchdown. Red flag.
3rd down and 5. Levitt swings it to Scatterboom. Scatterboom breaks defenders. Here he goes again. Scatterboom is the running back, and he is immediately met in the backfield, runs through the contact, and then throws a shoulder for good measure.
This team this year. That is true. High in the air. Right center field. Brandon Compton. Welcome to 2025. Today. This one the other way. Still going back. That's the drag. Walks up and down.
Edwards pulls off and buries it. Richardson drives out for Robbie Ryan. Hurt 3 right on the money.
Takes his shot for goal.